At the very inception, I would like to thank the Sewa International for giving me an opportunity and my institution to be here for sharing our knowledge and also to learn from this wonderful uh, conference. And chair and the delegates who are present here, I'm going to present on my and welcome you all to my presentation. Thank you. Uh, Basically, I will focus on the community-based conservation for sustainable development. This is mainly in the one of the region is Annapurna conservation area, conservation region, Annapurna conservation region, which is located um, uh, in the center of the Himalaya region in Nepal. I missed one slides anyway. I just want to explain a little bit that this is the range of the Himalayas where the Annapurna, these are all the areas it's included in the Annapurna region. And the main area of this region is where we are already established the community-based, we can say a community-based conservation, which is managed by the National Trust for Nature Conservation, National Trust for Nature Conservation, and it's almost for 7,000, more than 7,000 square kilometer. Its area is occupied, and almost this is established in 19. We work in 19. We start our work as a pilot in 1986, and we declare as a conservation area in 1992. And we can see that we have the Himalayas in throughout this range. And the main important part, I was just to give you some introduction before going to the main part. The Kali Gandagi is the deepest gorge in the world. It's located in the Annapurna region, and is the Tili Chok Lake is the highest glacier lake of the world. And this is also included in this area, and is very rich in biodiversity. It's highly rich in biodiversity. We can see from snow leopard to the other species, including the pigeons. Almost we have like all the 6 Himalayan pigeons of Nepal in this region, and we are very rich in traditional and cultural heritage. Similarly, we worked on these areas at the beginning, as I mentioned earlier, that we plan to do to establish a conservation area in this region, and during that period, we set objectives to establish these protected areas like for the conservation of natural resource for the benefits of present and future generation. And this is one of our objectives, and to bring sustainable social and economic development to the local people, basically for the local benefits. And the third one is to develop tourism in that area, because we don't have any kind of any like industries, big industries. We are totally depend on the natural resources. So this is our one of the biggest industry, the tourism industry in Nepal. So we had set objectives like development tourist in such a way that it will have minimum negative impact on the natural and social, cultural, and economic environments. So this is environment. This is what we set objectives for the conservation. And as I mentioned, we start working with the local communities since 1986, and we are the pioneer for the integrated conservation and development program. NTNC, we starts from that, but at the time it was not a conservation area. And we have different thematic areas, like we focused on five. I won't want to go in detail on this, and those are the five thematic areas, and we have a cross-cutting issues which really include, as madam had mentioned, about the women, that women are the actually women, we put women as a principal actor in this conservation area. I will come in that later. So we focused on like cross-cutting issues like governance and gender equity and social inclusion. And what is our approach? How we are like management approach? How we are working? We try to establish like the approach we implemented need to be balanced between the people and the nature. It should be balanced between the nature. Then only we could succeed. So this is our main approach, and how we can work from top to bottom. It's not easy to deal like from up to the down, but we work from top, from bottom to the top. So we involve all the local communities. Well, we do a planning and any kind of things, and it's a like integrated plan, as madam also mentioned before, that it should be integrated. So this is the integrated approach, and integrate should like environment, economics, and social, it should be in one place, so then only we can address the sustainability. And as we were working in different thematic areas, it's almost covered all the, I can say all, like say 17 our sustainable development goals. It's already, I think we have taught in some, in somehow in different activities. So we also have a different like guiding principles in this, like people participation is the most important part, and it's a most, it should be effective participants of the local people, as you see in the picture also. Inclusion, like as I mentioned, like socially inclusion group also, it should be there, especially for the women groups. We establish many women groups, I will come back on that. Enhance capacity of the communities by involving them in different forms, like local institution and user groups. And also the building like managerial and technical capacity. And is the sustainable part. How do we sustainably we work with the local communities? Conservation and sustainable use of natural resources. How we can use the natural resources sustainably. And the financial sustainability is one of the most important part, because until and unless we have a financial support, then we can't manage it. So we try to establish the protected area, so that we can generate the revenue from there and plow back to the communities, so community can plan their activities and can work. But we support the communities as like a technical part. And in this slides I just went to mention that initial, like in the beginning, the community engaged through integrated conservation development, as I mentioned, is one of the approach we I have already mentioned, that we start our pilot in 1986 from the very small pocket area. It's 209 square kilometer. Then we extended it, expand these areas to almost like 1748 square kilometer in 1990. This is all the pilot work we are working. And in 1992 we extended to the 7629 square kilometer, and we declare it as a conservation area. Probably this is the first conservation area, community-based conservation area in the world, and is the first conservation area in Nepal, and is the largest protected areas in Nepal. And we try to support the community in different ways, like enhancing the capacity for local in like awareness exposures to different areas, and we provide trainings, formation of conservation and management committees. It's a legal function, legal institution, like subcommittees and user groups, which can work very smoothly when we legalize it. So it's this is how we work with the local community and support them on like natural resource management, forest management, and so on, and improve community infrastructure and their livelihood in there. And you can see the structure, that it's all from the community. The VDC, we have used to have a VDC in those days, but now we are in federal, so it's a little bit changing. We have to change our policy. It's the well, this is the structure when we work, when it was not in the federal system. So we are now struggling with this part. Hopefully we will manage to do, because now we have a three tiers, like local and province and the central government. So we have to work in that way. And so we involve all the communities during we work. This is the this conservation area management committee. Is this a committee which is run by the local communities? We only provide them to technical part. And you can see where NTNC is there, but to support, we have a like Annapurna conservation area project, we used to call the project, because we support the local communities. And from there, DNPWC, Department of National Park and Wildlife Conservation, it's the government is a little bit far, you can see, but they look after the legal part. But all the parts doing by technically we support, and managing by the local community, the local communities. And the involvement of local communities in base like institution, you can see like they involve in natural resource management, species conservation, protection of cultural heritage, alternative energy promotion green enterprises, community infrastructure development. Those are in all the parts they are involving. It is more integrated, as I mentioned earlier. And also the tourism services management and implementation. And these are the areas how we work. And the major interventions in that area is a social cultural intervention and economic intervention, as well as the ecological intervention. And the main importance is the human resource development. In this part, we captured it's a small program, but it's more effective because we try to bring them in the conservation as well as the development work in that area. So we start to work with a very small activities at the beginning, and we start with different kind of activities. Like this is one of the small capacity building part. I'm just giving this as an example. Is like laws operating, including the kitchen hygiene, because we are planning to bring the tourists in that area. So this is our very small program, but it's more effective one. And the enhanced language skill also, because they need a language skill in that area, and the hospitality. And more than 1000 local hotels are there. They are managing themselves, they are operating by the local communities now. And empower the women, we used to call the mother groups. I don't know whether in Nepal there was a mother group before or not. The mother groups, we start from the Annapurna conservation area. We bring mother in front. They are leading all the programs. They are leading. So I think the women's, the mother groups, they are very important in all part of the intervention. So this is how for the development work and all the work they are involving very, I mean, very wisely, we can say. Then the men. So we should we should give them opportunity to lead all those activities. And in the culture, like conservation of cultural heritage, and similarly in the economics part, strengthening tourism entrepreneur. Like you can see the creation of economic opportunity, and we like small stalls of the restaurants, hotels, and also the museum. We lost many unique things from that area, so we established the museum from that ethnic community in that area. And this is one of the very important part, that we really involve the local communities. They do their like tree plantation in their land, in the private lands. We provide the training and all kinds of activities to them, and they start like the follow lands converted to the tea garden, and we export this is more organic, and it's used to export abroad, basically in the Germany, the tea. And you can see we can do something when we involve the local communities in the ground. And the ecological part also, you can see the conservation, the forest conservation, they do all the conservation works, plantations, and they do. And they maintain their nurseries, and do they now they can do their same. They bring the ideas now, and we work very together with them. And it's now we can say it's really doing very well. And protection of wildlife, we have very endangered species in that area, and the unique one. Introduce of clean energy technology, and those are also at the beginning, though they used to make cooking with the firewood. And now we converted them, most of, not all, but some of the part, with the solar and the hydropower. We provide the fund to the communities for hydro power station, micro hydro. So now they are running the micro hydro themselves also. So this is how the local communities are managing themselves. So major outcomes, the great understanding of the protected areas. So now the communities, they are very much understanding that why we have to conserve the natural resources. So it's benefited to the local communities itself. And improve biodiversity conservation in that area, because they really involved, they're doing very well. Restoration of degraded lands, you can compare in 1990, and now you can see how it's the greenery is also converted in that area. And respect the culture heritage in that area. People, how to respect their culture, because we used to understand the tech, because we have to know that culture, it's a indigenous knowledge, it's come from there. So we have to respect on in that area. So this is how it's working. And you can see this is all almost 969 institution. It's a local institution. They do all the activities, from all the conservation areas management, forest management, all the activities they do themselves. We are only facilitating, we are only supporting by providing the fund, because we are looking after the fund which is generated from these protected areas by the visitors in that area. And direct economic opportunity to the local communities. Annually it's turnover like 1.08 million Nepali rupees. And there are a lot of hotels and lodges now, and almost employment of 5,000, more than 5,000 people, and local like social benefits to the local communities. Now you can see actually as earlier presentation from one of our seniors delegates from here, we should not build like concrete, but unfortunately we have to do this because there's of like flood, and in the rainy season it's a little bit more difficult. And improve economic viability of the Annapurna conservation area. You can see at the beginning we were totally dependent upon the donors. We have a lot of donors at the beginning, and later we earn ourselves, and you can see the curve there. We are doing ourselves. So this is how we really, this is only it's happened because of the involvement of the local communities and their ownership. And I'm coming in the end, but I have some more slides. The Annapurna conservation area has become one of the world's famous trekking destination now. I don't know whether you have been to Annapurna area or not. Anyone have been to Annapurna area? I think I would like to welcome you all in the Annapurna area. And now I am leading this because we are managing three protected areas. So I am leading this department. So I can assist you. Please welcome to Nepal, and we can visit in this area. So, and the high and there is a high level of satisfaction among the visitors we have to observe, and you can see the increased tourist number in the area. But in the COVID period we are really suffering in that, and now you can see the we have very good number is coming up. I think we'll recover very soon. And we can, and the community involved in conservation development activities with full ownership, while they also benefited from the conservation. If they are benefited, they really fully take ownership on that. So you can see the community participant in that areas, and how and holistic resource management part they are doing, integrated conservation development part, and the income from tourism to the local communities. They sit together, and they bring a plan, and we provide that fund, because the fund is brought back to the local communities. So they are not dependent. We are not dependent from the government fund. We are solely uh, generating from by ourselves, and the close partnership with local community, then only we can work very closely with the local communities. It's possible, it's happening. So, and there's a provision of living livelihood options. There are a lot of options now, but only the thing is I will go a little bit. And as I mentioned, the ICTP model is in ACAP is now being replicated in other protected areas. And these three protected areas now, we are replicated from Annapurna, Manaslu, and Gauri Sankar conservation area, and we are managing these three protected areas. The government of Nepal have given us responsibility for the management, but the legal part are looking after by the government. And action needs to be sustainability in the Himalayas, restoration of natural. I'll just read through on it. Water is storage capacity in the Himalayas watershed through conservation and soil, ice, water, wetlands, lakes, development of climate smart environmentally and social sound and infrastructure to provide water for agriculture, hydropower generation, and downstream irrigation, reduce runoff and flood streaks to downstream areas, adequate investment for management of Himalayan watershed, wetlands, and biodiversity, mechanism for providing incentives to the mountain communities for managing Himalaya ecosystems, and also empower local communities for their meaningful participation. And the opportunity is also there in the of Himalayas water resources for drinking, irrigation, and energy, prosperity for at local and national level through nature and culture-based tourism, promotion of high-value NTFE. This is non-timber forest products based enterprises, promotion of agriculture cash crop, mobilization of community-based local institutions for the enhancement of traditional and indigenous knowledge, and find environment-friendly solution. And the way forward for the sustainability of the Himalaya: conduct long-term research and monitoring of biodiversity and assess climate change impact on it, established PES, payment for environment services mechanisms for the upstream and downstream linkage for sustainability of ecosystem services, improve local livelihood through value add and sustainable use of natural based resources, engage multi-stakeholders and policy formulation and implementation, engage local community to promote integrated knowledge translation. This is very, very important. Thank you very much.